शब्दः कारुणिकेन पुरे प्रविशन्तम् कारुणिकेन पुरे प्रविशन्तम् ध्यानबलेन समुद्गतबोधो ध्यानबलाधिपदानरसिंहे ध्यानबलेक्षक श्रूयते शब्दः कारुणिकेन पुरे प्रविशन्तम्
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back. Hope you all had a lovely lunch. Our apologies. I think of the many things that we miss as part of COVID is not being able to have Geshe-la physically with us in the same room and being able to offer a meal and other offerings to Geshe-la as well as to each and every one of you. But I hope COVID is at the ending phase and maybe soon we can make aspirations for meeting once again. Domala, we're ready to start whenever.
Okay, welcome back. Thank you. Okay, we'll continue from where we left this first session. Verse number 21. 21, 22, 23, they are all about, I say, the pertaining to your good gesture, compassionate gesture of helping others, and comparing our mundane way of benefit others versus the bodhicitta, spiritual bodhicitta, where you wish the best of everything for each and every sentient being. So comparing the two, we see that for us to do even virtue in a mundane sense, that is difficult. And then the bodhicitta, the wish to give the maximum to everybody, there's no doubt extremely precious and valuable. Okay, verse 21 reads, if even the thought to relieve living creatures of merely a headache is a beneficial intention endowed with the infinite goodness. So the result that you're going to get, or the result meaning your karmic benefits, karmic results that you get is going to be infinite goodness. Then what need is there to mention? The wish to dispel the inconceivable misery, wishing every single one of them to realize boundless good qualities. That is a bodhicitta. Do even fathers and mothers have such a benevolent intention as this? La. Oh, stanza 21 lay. Ah. Yeah, 21 this one. 21 this one. Losaro. Okay, we will read this again. 21. Timar. Man tachi kirkelis. Oh, the okay, I'm reading this 21 once more. Even if the thought to relieve living creatures of merely a headache is a beneficial intention endowed with infinite goodness, then what need is there to mention the wish to dispel the inconceivable misery, wishing every single one of them to realize boundless good qualities? Do even fathers and mothers have such a benevolent intention as this? To the gods and sages, does even Brahma have it? So what is indicated here is that, for example, let's say the parents, generally speaking, the parents, they wish the best for your children, but the Bodhisattva. What is so unique about this Bodhisattva is the compassion of the Bodhisattva is that it is endowed with incredible wisdom, not only the compassion, but also the wisdom that it knows. Say, for example, in a very remote village where everything is very simple, the parents at the most would wish their children to be healthy, get good food. That's it. Whereas if the parents, they are really learned, educated, and has really seen the world, then they wish something much more than what the parents in the remote simple village aspire the children to be with. So because the very educated parents and who have seen the world, they would really, what they aim, what they see as good thing to be given to the children is something much more valuable than what the simple parents would they wish their children to have. So with this, the point is that the difference is made on the basis of the exposure, the wisdom, the knowledge, and so forth. So bodhicitta is something which is endowed with the tremendous knowledge and tremendous skillfulness and tremendous wisdom. So on the wishing that your children, wishing that others have the maximum happiness and total fearlessness. And even the parents, they don't have such idea for themselves. How can you think of them to imagine that to happen to you? Because they will say that yes, the fear is the inalienable part of the life, and that you are bound to have miseries. This is what the parents would think, and they can't really imagine to bestow upon you the fearlessness and the infinite happiness. Whereas the Bodhisattva, with the one who's endowed with Bodhisattva, has the total knowledge that everyone has the seed of perfection. And this seed of perfection, if resorted to the correct means, this seed of perfection can be activated. So with this in mind, what the ones with the Bodhisattva, they aspire the maximum, the best of things for you is something which even the parents cannot imagine that for you, for the reason that they don't have that, not all, but generally, they don't have that intelligence, they don't have that, the very profound knowledge of the existence of the seed of perfection within each of the sentient beings. So do even fathers and mothers have such a benevolent intention as this? Do the gods and sages, does even Brahma have it? Okay. "24. If those beings have never before even dreamt of such an attitude, wishing the best to awaken the seed of perfection within the individual, to experience the fearlessness and to experience the infinite happiness, since they don't know that, how can they imagine that to happen to you? If those beings have never before even dreamt of such an attitude for their own sake, how would it ever arise for the sake of others?" This is where the bodhicitta, in the first place, you knowing that there's a seed of perfection within you. Whatever religion that you're following, it doesn't matter. Whatever gender, whatever the social status, it doesn't matter. Everyone has this seed of perfection. And the Buddha is very precise that there should be no gender discrimination. There should be no discrimination on the basis of any reasons. For the reason that everyone is equally good, everyone is equally superior, that everyone has the seed of perfection. It's for this reason that at the time, 2,500 years ago, when India was in the grip of the severe gender discrimination, severe caste discrimination, so forth, Buddha so courageously stood up against this, fought against this. And nowadays, some we call as the feminists, they may say that no, there's a discrimination there. This all because the individuals, they don't really know the historical facts in those days. And lucky that Buddha was born as the prince. If he was an ordinary person, he would have been exterminated or executed by some people. for the reason that he was fighting against those injustices, like gender discrimination, like the caste discrimination. So he was literally fighting against so courageously, and simply because he was the prince, and still he suffered, say, the antagonism from the other side, and yet he stood so firm against the gender discrimination, all these forms of discrimination. So if you know these facts so well, in those days, today it's very easy. I can speak about gender discrimination. Yes, I do speak of gender discrimination so easily. And wherever there's an opportunity, I speak about the gender discrimination. I don't see any reason why there should be there should be discrimination against gender on the basis of the gender. I don't see any reason. But for me, there's no threat to my life. Whereas at the time of the Buddha, it was so imbued in the community that if somebody speaks like this, then ordinary people like us, the next day you will have to leave the world. So what I'm saying is that these people, they should know the context in those days when it was in such a height of the discrimination, and somebody stood so courageously. If you know the context, then you will really appreciate the efforts of the Buddha against the gender discrimination and all forms of other discriminations. Okay. Okay. This in 25. This intention to benefit all beings, which does not arise in others, even for their own sake. Yeah, that's very true. So look at the let's say that okay, forget about the infinite happiness, fearlessness, and so forth. Even in a mundane sense, that cultivate compassion, your immunity will be boosted. Cultivate compassion, you'll be freed from depression, anxiety, stress, and so forth. This is so common sense. Nowadays, even the medical doctors, allopathic medical doctors, let alone the other doctors like the homeopathy, the Ayurveda, Tibetan medicine, Unani, Siddha, and so forth. Even the allopathic medical doctors who otherwise believed in the, say, pure biological, the fixing the biological problems, even they talk about the need for your spirit, your mind to be healthy, to think positively in order to recover from the illness fast. Now with COVID-19, with COVID, the people who were in the ICUs, who were they bedridden in ICUs. So there, it is later on discovered that more than the COVID, this isolation kills the people. This isolation and the loss of the hope. There's the emotional, say the downturn of the emotional states. So these kill the people more than what the COVID does. COVID killed the people. So this is, because of which later on, many of the hospitals, they allow the patients in the ICU with COVID patients allowed to use the phones, allowed to use their phones to communicate with their relatives, with their friends, in order to keep the emotions, the uplifted. So because of this, how the mind is so closely connected, this is so obvious. And look, in our life, we see that people just go into acute anger, acute irritation towards each other, and that kills your immunity, and you become so prone to illnesses. And then the heart attack, all these things happen. These are very common sense. Forget about fearlessness and infinite happiness. Even extremely immediate, say the immediate the cause of a relationship, where you have so much anger, agitation, and these people cannot last long. If you just live in anger all the time, you cannot live long. Your immunity will instantly go down, and you are prone to any form of illnesses because there's no immunity there. Okay, so with this in mind, these are things where with ordinary people, we can't even see the immediate cause of a relationship, and we are being so unwisely embracing anger, hatred, and so forth, and meanwhile destroying your health and destroying yourself and destroying your whole family. Okay, His Holiness the Dalai Lama puts it so beautifully how anger destroys us. Say you have conflict with somebody, and you become so angry. And at home, you come home, you don't eat food because you're constantly, your mind is just festering this anger, and you don't feel like eating food at all. And your parent, your very loving mother, father, husband, wife, children, they come to say, oh, now calm down. Then they serve you tea. What calm down? You show anger towards your people who love you. This is what happens. Extreme unwise. Then what happened? Because of this, then even your parents, your children, your husband, your wife, they don't dare to come close to you. Then you feel that you are isolated. You become so lonely. Then whole night you think about it, you lose your sleep. You don't eat. And then in few days' time, you become, you are hospitalized. And your enemy on the other side, he or she was just watching over you. What happened? You're hospitalized. And we're so happy. So what did you do? You made your enemy so happy and successful. Enemy wants to make this happen to you, and the enemy doesn't know how to make it happen. And you made it happen for your enemy. And your parents, the people who love you, they don't want this to happen to you. They love you so much. And this, what you did to yourself, this is exactly what you did with the loved ones. They don't want to see this happening to you. And what the enemies want to see happening to you, that is happening to you. So who made it? It's your anger. It's extremely unwise, so stupid, so silly, so unwise. Okay. So because of which, we need a tremendous intelligence. We need the wisdom. So be kind to yourself and be wisely kind to yourself. Wise, wisdom. We need wisdom to see not only the cause-effect relationship in the immediate cause and effect, but also the relationship between the long-term cause and effect. That is a wise person. So those who can see the correlation between the cause and effect in the long term, these are wise people who can only see the short term, and who do not even see the short term. These are the unwise people. So this is how and don't underestimate yourself. Don't make yourself unwise. Be wise. Don't underestimate yourself. Okay, so it says 25. This intention to benefit all beings, which does not arise in others, even for their own sake, is an extraordinary jewel of the mind, and its birth is an unprecedented wonder. So where you just practice of these two methods, sevenfold method and the equalizing exchange method, with this practice, you start to feel it. It's very okay. One thing what I would share with you is that don't expect this universe love and affection, this beautiful mind to come to you naturally. It'll never come to you naturally. Sometimes we see that younger people, they are more impatient, they're more restless, and the elders, they're more calm. Their calmness may not be because of compassion, it's because of experience. Because they experience how to deal with the situation cunningly, without aggression, but in a very cunning way, right? It doesn't mean that they are more compassionate. No, simply because younger ones, they don't know what would be the situation, so they resort to anger or the aggression. Whereas the elders, they know how to treat it, how to tackle the situation so effectively, without resorting to the aggression, right? So at times, it doesn't mean their calmness. Whereas if you practice these two methods, then you can see that your mind is actually expanding. And you will say that you will be the person to say that experientially speaking, this love which expands towards others, from you to your family members, to your neighbors, to all the other people, all the other beings, you see that this is the most beautiful mind in this universe. You'll feel it. And then you see that, wow, those people who are compassionate towards others, these are the happiest people. You could feel it. And everybody wants happiness. And the secret of happiness lies in embracing this unconditional love. And on the contrary, while we seek the maximum happiness, we just push the cause of the happiness, that is compassion. We just push away the compassion, and we push away everybody away from you. So this is so unwise. Okay. 25 again. This intention to benefit all beings, which does not arise in others, even for their own sake, is an extraordinary jewel of the mind. Described as extraordinary jewel, the most beautiful mind. You could feel the beauty there. And because of this beauty, you say everything is beautiful. Say, let's say that this flower usually is there. And then our room coordinator, somehow she puts this flower on my table, not in the vase. If I don't practice compassion, anything the other person does is seen as so imperfect. Then I'll say, why don't you put this in? Don't you know where to put this? It goes in the vase. You put it on the table. Why? Again, if she puts in the vase, is it necessary everything should be in the vase? Sometimes why can't it be on the table? Everything can be interpreted as negative. Whereas if your mind is imbued with compassion, everything is beautiful, right? If it's in the vase, wow, nice. So you know exactly where to put. And if she puts it on the table, wow, it's not necessary to put on the vase always. It's nice, it's aesthetically nice. It's on the very naturally outside there. It's so beautiful. Everything will turn out to be so beautiful. This is so beautiful moment. Look at look at the parents. Believe that this, I'm not just creating it. Look at the parents. Once I don't know whether I mentioned this in the early class. Once I was invited for lunch by the husband and the wife, and they have the two young daughters, very little daughters. And going there, suddenly I saw the whole wall with small children's sketches. And okay, then what happened? And then the mother said that these are the drawings of my two children. You know, these are the drawings. Wow, how she was explaining it as well, like so nice. It's so beautiful. And then to me, no, I can't really give the ball like this, right? Not a painting. What is this? Not a clean wall. Not a painting. What is this? But in mother's eyes, with love, in the eyes of the love, you feel a so beautiful painting. It's so beautiful, more beautiful than the Michelangelo's paintings. Yeah, that's amazing. So it's all because of love. So it says that it's an extraordinary jewel of the mind, and its birth is an unprecedented wonder. It's amazing. If you could really practice this and you start to feel this, your mind expanding, it's so beautiful, it's so relaxing, but it will never happen on its own. Don't expect it to happen on its own. You have to practice it, practice two things. And these two things can be practiced by anybody, not necessarily males, females, or believers, non-believers. Anyone can practice that, and you can feel the beauty of this love within you. Okay, 26. How can I fathom the depths of the goodness of this jewel of the mind, the panacea that relieves the world of pain and is the source of all its joy? You feel every moment is joyful for you, every moment. Yeah. So in this connection, I remember once His Holiness was on the visit to a country, I don't know where, and there I was also accompanying His Holiness at that point as the entourage. Then one day, one of the main attendants of His Holiness was coming to a room and saying, "Oh, do you have some biscuits, cookies, or fruits?" I said, "Why are you coming to a room for these? Why?" Why are you looking for this? Why? You need that. He said, no, I don't need. And why? Why are you looking for these? Then he said that His Holiness, from the window, he could see from the window, from the high up floor, from that, he could see down there on the road, he could see a beggar there. And he called him and gave a very clear instruction to him that you see this beggar there, you must go give some money, give some fruits, eatables to him. Instruction, very clear-cut instruction. So he was urgently coming to look for fruits or whatever we have. And then he went there. So look, this is known as the universal love. It doesn't wait till you receive the benefit from somebody else, or you expect to benefit from somebody else. You see somebody there who needs help, you're there. This is the universal love. It's so beautiful. Just imagine if it is happening to us. It's so beautiful. Okay, 27. If merely the benevolent intention excels veneration of the Buddhas, and the Buddha is so precise, what he said is that one moment of your compassion to sentient beings, on the one hand, and your veneration of the countless Buddhas, if you compare the two, one moment of your compassion towards the beings, that far excels in the intensity of the merit as compared to venerating innumerable Buddhas. This is how the Buddhas, they love the sentient beings. This is so precious. Okay. If merely the benevolent intention excels veneration of the Buddhas, then what need to mention striving to make all beings, without exception, happy? You accumulate so much merit to the merits, and because of which in the first place, your mind will experience the most beautiful mind, amazingly beautiful moment of the mind. And then as consequences in the future, you will have all your desired aspirations fulfilled. 28. All the wishing to rid. Okay, now, so now that because of this practice, let's say that you generate the wholesome thought of compassion towards all the beings, love and affection to all the beings, where you don't see the difference between, okay, this is my family. You love all the beings unconditionally same. If that happens, then this love can manifest, this affection, feeling closeness towards other beings can manifest in the form of compassion, or it can manifest in the form of loving kindness, depending on the situation. So when you see with this feeling of love and affection, when you see the beings who you love, when you see them as deprived of, when you see them in miserable state, what is your reaction? Your very natural reaction is that may you be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. So this mental state of love and affection, wishing others to be freed of suffering and the cause of suffering, is known as the compassion. Compassion is the feeling of love and affection, which wishes others to be freed of suffering and the causes of suffering. Whereas if with the same feeling of love and affection, viewing others be deprived of happiness and the causes of happiness, then you wish, may all beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. This is loving kindness. So there's a slight difference between the loving kindness and the compassion. See, the basic umbrella is the same, which is the feeling of love and affection towards other beings, but the nuanced difference is that one focuses on the beings who are deprived of happiness, which is the loving kindness, and the one which focuses on the beings who go through miseries. So that is kindness, the compassion. Okay, so 28. Although wishing to be rid of miseries, they run towards miseries itself. And the beings who you love, what they do. If you look at them, we see that they want happiness, but they chase after the causes of the miseries. They don't want suffering, but they don't want suffering. They want happiness. They simply say they push away the causes of the happiness, They don't want miseries. They embrace they chase after the miseries, the cause of the miseries. This is exactly what the beings do. Same as we discussed this morning, that people want people want to prove themselves as somebody special. They want to do something big, great, but they don't want to put effort, which means that they want good things, but they don't embrace the cause of the happiness. They don't want miseries, but they embrace the cause of the miseries. This is what the beings do. So if the parents see their children doing that, then the parents would really feel so, let's say, compassionate that my children should not be behaving like this. So this is where the compassion grows. 28. Although wishing to be rid of miseries, they meaning sentient beings to whom you love, they run towards the miseries itself, miseries and the cause of the miseries. Although wishing to have happiness, like enemy, they ignorantly destroy the happiness by destroying the causes of the happiness. 29. For those who are deprived of happiness and burdened with many sorrows, it satisfies them with all joys, dispels all suffering. With this compassion, with this bodhicitta, you see that even if you are deprived of happiness, even if you are a beggar on the street, but the moment you have this bodhicitta inside, you generate the bodhicitta, instantly your mind will be filled with joys and all these miseries will disappear. 13. And clears away confusion, meaning your ignorance. With the compassion, sometimes I'm sure those who, the mothers, although in school they may not be good in mathematics, they may not be good in science, but the moment they have the children, they have to teach their children, they learn science themselves. They start to learn mathematics themselves, and they become good at it. Because how they learn mathematics while they were in school, how they are learning now to teach their children, the passion is much greater now. So this passion makes them good at mathematics, good at the science, although they were not doing good in the school. So it's all because of this love that you make things happen, that your ignorance is dispelled. Ignorance pertaining to mathematics, ignorance pertaining to science, ignorance pertaining to anything else. You dispel them because of your love to help the children or help others. So it clears away confusion. Confusion meaning clears away ignorance. Where is there a comparable virtue? So this virtue of compassion, which brings all happiness, which dispels all the miseries, which clears away all your ignorance, where is there a greater virtue? Where is there even such a friend as this? Friend meaning someone who helps you. With this bodhicitta, it helps you the maximum. Where there's such a friend, where is there merit similar to this? The merit, the virtue that accumulate, there's nothing greater than the virtue of the bodhicitta. If whoever repays a kind deed, okay, now let's say that somebody who does something good for somebody else, and we say that, oh, this person is so great, and even if the person is expecting something in return, but still we endorse, we praise, we acknowledge, oh, this person is so kind, beneficial. What about the bodhisattvas? They do everything best, not just partially, everything best, which means that the virtue that they engage in is unfathomable. 31. If whoever repays a kind deed is worthy of some praise, then what need to mention the bodhisattvas who do good without it being out of them? You may be wondering, who are those bodhisattvas? Who are those bodhisattvas? This may be a question. The bodhisattvas is not that there is one class of being known as the bodhisattvas, one class of being known as Indians, Tibetans, or the what? Anyone, whether you are believer or non-believer, whether you're Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims, Jains, male, female, it doesn't matter. Anybody who sincerely aspires to be awakened, to awaken the seed of perfection within you, for the benefit of all the beings, the moment this thought becomes very genuine and spontaneous within you, you become a bodhisattva. What is meant by bodhi? What is meant by sattva? Bodhi meaning the fully awakened state, fully awakened state, fully awakened state of the seed of perfection within you. What is sattva? Sattva means a courageous one. The courageous one who so courageously take the responsibility of all the other beings by the desire to awaken the spirit of perfection within you. That is known as Bodhisattva. And you can be Bodhisattva if you generate this mind within yourself. 32. The world honors as virtuous one who sometimes gives a little plain food disrespectfully to a few beings, which satisfy them only for only half a day. Say, somebody gives you food. Somebody gives you food when you are very hungry, you are craving, you are really dying for food. And somebody gives you food so disrespectfully, just throw the food like this towards you. And that too is just very small piece. And then it will satisfy only half a day, not even full day. And that too given with so much disrespect. Still you feel, you feel gratitude towards that person, that this person really saved me from my hunger. So if that is what happens, then what about the Bodhisattvas? 32. The world honors as virtuous one who sometimes gives a little plain food disrespectfully to a few beings which satisfy them for only half a day. What need be said then of one who eternally bestows the purest bliss of the Sugatas. Sugatas meaning the one who has gone to the bliss of purity upon limitless numbers of beings, thereby fulfilling all their hopes. Okay, so now if this were the case, say, where you see somebody so beneficial, so kind, and if you are being unkind, if you are being nasty towards such a being, disrespectful towards such a the being, towards such a kind, compassionate bodhisattva, then the negative karma that one accumulates is enormous. In this connection, what I would like to share with you is that those of you, I would say, who still have your parents, are they bodhisattvas? Most likely not. But with respect to you, when you were young, when you were vulnerable, these two parents, they are like a bodhisattvas with respect to you, although they are not bodhisattvas. For other people, they may not be as kind as how they would be towards you. But for you, they were like bodhisattvas. So because of that, just as if you're being nasty towards the bodhisattvas, you accumulate so much of negative karma for which you have to pay the price eventually in the form of negative consequences. Likewise, for you, your parents who have done their best when you were so vulnerable, when you needed their compassion, love, and so forth. If you are being unkind towards them, if you shout at them, you accumulate so much negative karma and you have to pay the price. So because of that, whatever happened in the past. And as I indicated very clearly earlier, that those of us, I do know that there are some people, since their childhood, meaning age 2, 3, 4, 5, their parents, their parents were not really, their parents themselves were going through very difficult times, not being kind towards their children. That's understandable. Otherwise, those people who started to have the complication after age 14, 15, 16, till that point, you were heavily dependent on your parents. And for you, your parents, you know that these two parents will be always there for you. And you have any problem, your mind will be directed towards your parents. So those people, what I would say is that if now that you become very self-sufficient, independent, and then you become unkind towards your parents, shout at the parents, you accumulate so much of negative karma, which is not good. So past is past. Now what you do is that, knowing this, from today, let us make a commitment that I'm going to revolutionize myself. I'm going to be kind to myself. I'm going to be wisely kind to myself. How wise to be kind to myself? First step, don't shout at your mothers. Don't shout at your father. And instead of letting the parents serve you tea, water, and so forth, you tell your parents, please stay calm. Please stay. I will serve you. What should I serve you? Do this. You will see the magic there. Don't expect magic come from somewhere, from the deities in the form of boons. Create the magic yourself. Just be kind towards your parents and see how your parents' faces, they glow. They glow with so much joy, which they have not experienced since you were age 14, 15, 16. Now they experience for the first time. Because you love your parents. You love your parents. Although at age 16, 17, you become very complicated. But deep inside, this imprint of love towards your parents is still there. Now, because of you are now revolutionizing yourself, your thoughts and your actions. So now this, which has gone too down, now because of your the change in your thinking. So now these imprints are coming on the surface. This imprint of love towards your parents is coming on the surface. And then you see your mother smile, you see your dad smile. You will see that this love and affection will make it so beautiful. And you start to smile. And the parents love you so much. Parents seeing your smile, again, their smile will be multiplied even more. Then whole wonder, magic happens in your own family. And believe it or not, your neighbors, your friends, they enter your mood. The moment they enter the room, they'll feel the calmness. They feel that something is different here. This is so beautiful. They could feel the relaxation the moment they enter your room. Who created this is you, by treating your parents very differently. So this is one thing that we need to keep in mind. Okay. So page 34, it reads, the Buddha has said that whoever bears harmful thoughts against a benefactor, such as a Bodhisattva, will remain in hell for as many aeons as they were harmful thoughts. However, if a virtuous attitude should arise in that regard towards those kind beings like the Bodhisattvas and your parents, its fruits will multiply far more than that. When Bodhisattvas greatly suffer, they generate no negativity. Instead, their virtues naturally increase. Okay, say again, how we make it, how would demarcate between ordinary beings and evolved beings, noble beings. Whether you're ordinary person or whether you are the evolved beings, in both cases we can become sick. We can go through life challenges. When you're confronted with life challenges, how you react to this, that will determine whether you are a noble person or the ordinary person. Okay, so usually there's an expression, I'm sure many of you know that already, to see how stable the person is, how grounded the person is. Just give money in the hands of the person or give power in the hands of the person. The moment the person abuses the power, the moment the person abuses the money, you will see that this person is ordinary. And no exception. Each one of us, this is a message for us. I should not behave like this. When I get the power, when I get the money, when I get the authority, whatever, I will not misuse them. I will use them only for the betterment, the goodness of yourself and others. Okay, if this is what happens, you are an evolved person. You are a very, a decent person. Okay, this is what we need to keep in mind. So the Bodhisattvas, when you go through difficulties, right? And if you believe in God, when you go through difficulties, illness, COVID-19, so forth, why it happens to me, why not to others? I've never done anything bad. Why the God is not true, or the Buddha is not true, or this is not true, that is not true. Where is law of karma? Where is God? Right? This means we are ordinary beings. We are extremely substandard ordinary beings. Whereas when you go through suffering, pain, oh, okay, so with this pain, I see there are so many people who are going through worse of this situation as compared to me. I wish that I can take their pains. And they say, may all beings, their miseries come to an end. May all beings have the happiness. When these thoughts come to you, you are really evolved being. Okay, this meaning, it says, when bodhisattvas greatly suffer, they generate no negativity. Instead, their virtues naturally increase. Okay, so it says, I bow down to the body of those in whom the sacred precious mind of the Bodhisattva is born. So you whether you're male, female, what gender, what religion, it doesn't matter. If you generate this bodhicitta within you, unconditional love towards all the beings, I bow down to the to the body of those in whom this sacred, precious mind of the bodhicitta is born. This is what Bodhisattva Shantideva is saying. I bow to you. If you generate bodhicitta, I seek refuge in that source of joy who brings happiness even to those who bring harm. Say, those who generate bodhicitta, say, if there's somebody who comes to harm the bodhisattva, instead of the bodhisattva wanting to retaliate, the bodhisattva only think of how to benefit this person, how to heal this person. So this is great, and this is a real saint, a real seer, real enlightened being, and this is the being to whom I make my prostrations. This is what Bodhisattva Shantideva said. Okay. With this last time where we left was say how to cultivate this unconditional love towards all the beings. So we're talking about what do you call as the all beings of three kinds: the near and dear ones, the neutral beings, and the difficult people. We talked about the three beings, and we cannot imagine any being or any sentient being who does not fall under one of these three categories. This is what we said, number one. Number two, what we said is that this unconditional love, whether or not this is feasible, can we cultivate it? This is the question. Can we cultivate it? And to say no is very easy. To say no is not easy. For example, let's say that if somebody make a request to you, can you please do this? It'll take a little time. Can you please do this? To say no is very easy. To say no, you don't have any responsibility. But to say yes, you have to do it. And to do it, you have to invest time, energy, resources. And oftentimes, you have to use your thinking. You have to think how to make it happen. Mother and child. Mother and child. If the child has to go through a process which will take like a few days, process long, this tedious process, mother will not say no. And mother will say yes. Not only the mother will say yes, mother will think from every way by how to make it happen. In the process of thinking, the mother is growing in skills. So this is so important. So what I'm saying is that let us not be good at saying no and full stop. In other words, when you say no, you are saying that I don't want to grow any further. I don't want to go. Number one, I don't want to grow in my compassion. I don't want to grow in my happiness. This is what you're saying. Number two, that because that you say no, you will not think how to make it happen. Because you don't think, you are not exercising your intelligence. And this intelligence, believe it or not, this is so important point to keep in mind. Each one of us, we have a body and we have mind. And say, for example, this physical body that I have, this body is now, I think 53 or 55 years old. This physical body, 53 or 55 years old. And this physical body, I've been leading more like a sedentary life. So if you ask me to run, I may not even be able to run 1 kilometer in 1 hour. But if you make me to exercise on a daily basis, for sure I will run 1 kilometer per hour. Then after a few days, I'll run 2 kilometers per hour. After that, 3 kilometers. Okay, tell me, anybody, tell me, say if I keep exercising like this, then I'll be able to run 10 kilometers per hour? Yes, no? If you say yes, raise hands. I'm 54, I'm not 75, I'm 54, right? I'm not 75, or I'm not 85. Okay, so let's say if I keep exercising this like this, keep exercising this, right? Then I'll be able to run 20 kilometers per hour. Possible? Yes, no? Yes? Okay, some people still very positive. Thank you. If I still exercise, then I can run 100 kilometers per hour. Possible? Not possible. Raise hands. Not possible. Raise hands. So. Okay. Now, so those people who are still very positive, if I still continue exercising, then I can run 1,000 kilometers per hour. Not possible, because even the commercial flights, They run only 800 kilometers per hour, not 1000. So we can't imagine. The human body has a set limit. It has a set limit. So you can exercise, you can improve it, but it'll reach a limit where you cannot go beyond that. You're getting it? This is the limitation of the body. But our mind is very different. Our mind is very different. Our mind can be trained at infinite. It can be trained infinitely. The qualities can be trained infinitely. This is the difference between the mind and the body. So when you say no, what you are saying is that I don't want to improve. I don't want to improve my intelligence. Right? You just put a period there, stop there. So I don't want to expand the happiness because you are not compassionate. Right? Number one, you are saying that I don't want to expand my compassion. Why should I say yes to you? So there, in a way, you are saying that I don't want to be compassionate. I don't want to be happy myself. Number one. Number two, you are saying that I don't want to think. You are getting it? I don't want to grow in my intelligence. While your mind has a tremendous potential to grow infinitely. And you are stopping it. You are stopping this growth. This is so unwise. In a way, if the other person happens to be very intelligent, please help me. And if you say no, the other person will laugh at you, saying that you are saying no to yourself, not to me. You are saying no to your growth. You are saying no to your happiness. So this is where we should be extremely, extremely careful. So the point is that, see, our mind has this capacity to grow so much. And I'm sure here, all the students of Dr. Nivedanaji and all others, I'm sure that you come here because you have a heart. And you will not say, generally speaking, I would say, I'm very confident you will not say no so easily to other people. So, but what I would say is that you have your friends, you have your siblings, relatives, uncles, aunts, and so forth, who are in positions. Please spread this message to them. Okay, this is what I learned. Don't easily say no, right? And you are a bureaucrat, or you have the power in your own capacity. And a poor school child comes, poor college student comes. Sir, I need one signature. Just for one signature, you are here, you have nothing to do. And even if you have something to do, but it's just few seconds, 2 or 3 seconds. You sign, finish, the person's, the child's job is done, finish. And you said, come tomorrow. And child has to come all the way from 20 kilometers away, in heat, in cold, and so many other things to be done. And you, few seconds, you can finish this. Why don't you have this heart? This is what is literally happening in the world today. And I'm sure you are not doing it, but some of your relatives, some of your friends are doing this. Just spread this message that this is what we have to learn. Not to be good at saying no. Learn how to be good at saying yes, to make things happen for others, to make things easy for others. This is so important. Let's not forget it. Okay. So with this, we talked about first, that all the beings are in these 3 categories. And the next is, how can I feel this love and affection? Because all the beings, whether or not this is possible in the first place. So what we said is that, yes, it is possible. Don't say, no, it's possible. It's not possible. Answer is yes. Only if you say yes, you will think, how is it possible? If you say no, you will not think. You have stopped your growth of your intelligence. When you say yes, how is it possible? Then you look at the world. You look at the world, what kind of this incredible, beautiful feeling of love and affection exists in this world, and which is most easily accessible is the love that you see between the mothers and the children. Mother and not the 16, 17 years children, or your mother and the young tender child, age 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, that relation is so beautiful. Okay, now, so this is an example. Can I generate my love and affection towards all beings the way the mother feels towards the child, or the child towards the mother? What we learned earlier was that for sure it's not the mother's love towards the child, because the mother's love towards the child mainly is a biological, whereas it's not necessary that we should have the biological factor for to have to feel this. If you don't have it, what about the child's love towards the mother? That is not biological. We know that day one the child is born. Day one the child is born, the child does not feel that love towards the mother. Anybody who picks up the child, that's fine. And this love towards, intense love towards the mother, was built over time, over the span of 1 year, 2 years. By 2 years, it's very intense. Then 3 years is very intense. So it was developed over time. How was this developed? This question. How was this developed? This question. So what we learned earlier was that this is all because this child sees the mother as the ultimate source of benefit for him or her. This is what we learned. Okay. So when we see somebody as the ultimate source of benefit, then your mind feels close towards that benefit. Where this benefit is coming from, to that your mind goes towards that. That is the meaning of the mind going closer towards that object, towards that person. That mind going closer towards that person is known as feeling close to the person. Feeling close to the person is known as love. Is love. Okay, that's interesting. If this is how the child builds this intense love towards the mother, then seeing the mother as a source of benefit, source of ultimate benefit. So can I think of the ultimate benefit of all the beings? Oh, this is a good question. The answer is yes. How? The near and dear ones, that's easy. Near and dear ones, you see that, okay, I love my mother because she's so kind to me. I love my brother because whenever I've in problem, he just steps in to help me. So this is the very definition of near and dear ones. But the neutral beings, last time what we discussed was that all the good things that we have, anything, for example, Delhi now is a little cold. We have the heating system. And this heating system, how? This heating system, just imagine like 1,000 years ago, these very cheap heating systems, very effective and cheap heating systems, they were totally non-existent in those days. How come that we get this heating system so easily? The cooling system and the food, aeroplanes, and then the COVID, now the vaccine. If your mother is to create this vaccine just for you, it'll cost you trillions of dollars. But either the government gives you for free or you buy it. It's very cheap. It's very cheap. You can get it very cheap. In some places, you have to take the vaccine. And you take the vaccine, you get money in some incentive. So this is how, and then this for your own benefit. And some people, they may agree, they may disagree. But it's fine. You have the right to disagree with me. But we should be very realistic. In America, during the second wave of the COVID-19, second wave, a nurse who was in this hospital was telling me directly that 93% of the people who come to the hospital, hospitalized, they were all without the vaccines. Those who declined to take the vaccines. 93% of the patients. Just imagine that. And because of this, all these doctors and nurses, they felt so angry towards these patients because of these, the doctors and nurses, they have to put their lives on risk. If they've taken the vaccine, the number of the patients in the hospital is cut to just the 5%, 6%, not like say the 80%. So now that the 93% of the people COVID positive, they're all those who do not take vaccines. Okay, so that is a different story. What I'm saying is that even this vaccine, those who have taken the vaccine out of voluntarily, so for you, this vaccine has protected you. And this vaccine is so, if you are to make it developed for yourself, it's trillions of dollars. And how come that you're able to get it so easily? because that there are so many people who need the same vaccine. So therefore, there's a mass production there. Mass production. Mass production makes things so cheap. Now, what does it mean by mass production? Millions and billions of people are involved there who need the same vaccine. And these people, it is because of their presence that you're able to get this vaccine so cheap. And do you know these people? These billions of people, do you know them? You don't know them. These are known as the neutral beings. And because of these neutral beings, that you get the privilege of getting this vaccine so cheap. Likewise, your food. The food. Just say one plate of food. This plate of food, the ingredients, they come from where? From the kitchen. And kitchen, where do it come from? From the shops. Shops come from where? From the factories. Factories from the where? From the agricultural land. And how many farmers involved? And from the agricultural land to the factory to be carried in the trucks. And the trucks, they should be the road. And they should be the trucks, which are made of the metals, wood, and the metals they were extracted from the ore, and the petrol coming from the petroleum. So think of all this, how many lives were involved. And believe it or not, for making these roads, making the roads, particular places like Delhi or terrible cold places. Delhi, you cannot put AC in the air, making roads. Oh, these AC for the road builders. No AC. They hardly have even water to drink, healthy water to drink. And what about the children? The children, they small babies. They don't have the babysitters. Who's going to pay for the babysitters? Even what you're getting is so less. How can you pay your babysitters? So the babies are there with you, and how many babies they die under this heat and under this cold. And just for this plate coming, the food coming on a plate, on a table, just imagine how many millions lost their life making road construction, in the minings, in extracting the ores. How many people collapse under the coal mine and so forth. So it's all because of these that we are getting this food, we are getting this the clothes, we are getting the juice, water, everything, whatever facilities that you have, is all because of millions of hands involved. Do you know these people? You don't know. Usually I talk about this pen, this tiny pen. This pen will cost me like even less than $50. Indian rupees, like 10 rupees, 20 rupees. Believe it or not, 2000 years ago, just think of these. We never thought about these. This pen, 2000 years ago, 1000 years ago, this pen, even the kings and the queens, they did not have the privilege to use this pen. What did they have? They have a feather. And they have to constantly put their feather in the ink and then quill. They have to write it. And what they wrote, they are so uneven, whereas this is so meticulously even. This can write so evenly. If this were to exist at the time of those kings and queens 2000 years ago, it will surely go into their treasure house as a treasure, one of the treasures, which the other kings and queens they did not have. Is a privilege for them. Whereas we get it so easy. We got it so easy. How come that we got this? Again, it's because of mass production. What do you mean by mass production? So many people are buying the same product. And who are these people? You know them? No, I don't know them. These are neutral people. Because the neutral people, we are getting all these benefits. So this is what we can think of, how we can think of. And then you feel that, then all the people who you don't know, you feel so grateful to them. And then who did the benefit? Not that the neutral people, they get the benefit from you, feeling this good feeling within you. You are the one you are the first recipient of this goodness within you. You feel so calm, peaceful, and happy. Your thinking becomes very positive, and your life becomes so easy. Okay, and then the difficulty, how to feel the gratitude towards difficult people, which we discussed earlier in the last class. We're going to quickly do it here. They say, in fact, when the Buddha said that I'm so fragile, the Buddha said, I'm so fragile because my father made me the king made me so fragile by giving all the facilities, which means that the facilities, in a way, they are pampering you and they are making you fragile. This is what the Buddha discovered. So in a way, what the message the Buddha is conveying to us is that he went through 6 years of austerity. So this austerity today we call it challenges. And these challenges are the opportunities for your growth. Opportunities for your growth. And in fact, most of the people, the celebrities, most of them, if you read their biographies, they were all self-made. They all struggled so much in the first part of life. So the point is that only through meeting with the difficulties, you will grow. You will know how to defend yourself. Only with meeting with difficulties. And for example, okay, so with this, the point is that the difficult people, the enemies, they create problems on you. Because they create problems on you, you will learn how to solve these problems, how to defend, how to fend for yourself. This is how you grow. And this growth, and finally this growth, there's unconditional love. And the most beautiful mind that exists, the most precious mind that exists in this universe is the unconditional love. When you feel it, it's so beautiful. But unconditional love meaning that your love towards all the beings, including the difficult people. So this, you will pass this exam only if you pass experiencing love and affection towards the difficult people. So they are the one who actually test you to see if you pass. For example, as I think the first session last time, I did mention this to you. I'm not too sure. I don't remember too well. Say when I practiced bodhicitta, that was like when I first enrolled myself in the Institute of Buddhist Dialectics. The first, I was so keen to practice this unconditional love of the bodhicitta, and following all these methods. Although my actual class for this was to happen after 4 years, but I was so keen that I learned this and practice from now, just now. I started doing this, and then following all these steps, remember all beings as one, some others, repaying their kindness, and then they remember the kindness, then repaying the kindness, and the what is that? Seeing beings alive with great compassion, altruism, altruism, and the bodhicitta. So following all these steps, then finally, when it comes to the bodhicitta, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. When it comes to this point, then I remember this person who I'm not going to mention the name. This person, very complicated, extremely complicated since my childhood. This person comes to my mind, and no way, I can't think of becoming Buddha for this person. No, for all other persons, yes, I'll become Buddha for you, but not for this person. So I said, may I become for the benefit of all sentient beings except for this person. So this was my thinking. And then I end up coming to know that if you cannot practice bodhicitta for this person, then this is not unconditional love, it's conditional. Provided you are somebody other than this person, I'll love you. If you're this person, my love cannot go to you. This is conditional. So if it is conditional, it can't be bodhicitta. If it is not bodhicitta, you cannot become Buddha. That's true. So finally, nobody's stopping me from becoming Buddha. Only there's one person, right? Nobody can make you become Buddha. Only one person can make me Buddha. Who's that? The last person. Failing of which my bodhicitta fails. If I pass, my bodhicitta reaches the ultimate success. Wow, this person is the most kind person to me. Wow, amazing. Then later on, they say with the bodhicitta, particularly this person comes from I feel that, wow, you are the one who is to just check whether I have this problem or I pass. I fail or I pass. You are the one. You are so kind. Without you, I cannot see how much I reached, the level I reached. So because of you, if I pass, then my body is successful. Wow, you are amazing. So keeping practicing it again and again, then over time, when the same person is being, say, the other people backed by this same person, spontaneously within me, I just feel like defending this person. Spontaneous, not fabricated, not because I learned it from the Buddha that I should become to as this person. No, spontaneous, because of the practice that I started to feel the same, the just feeling like spontaneous feeling like defend. Why should everybody backbite this person? Why? You know, so these are thoughts that are coming. Okay, what I'm saying is that the difficult people, in fact, if you can think properly, you see that the difficult person are the ones who can actually succeed, make you extraordinarily powerful person, extraordinarily successful person. This is what only difficult people can do. So they are the most kind. They are referred to as the teachers. What's the job of the teacher? Teachers to teach you, to help you to the success. And the one who can take you to a greater success, that is the greater teacher. So your enemies, your difficult people, they're considered as the greatest of the teachers for your journey into practicing unconditional love. Okay, so once you feel that okay, now the neutral beings, they're so kind to you in ways of providing all these good things which even my mother cannot provide me with. And then the difficult people, they are so kind to me in ways of giving me the maximum that happens with me, which is unconditional love, which determines the unconditional, the infinite happiness. And these difficult people, they have the potential to give this to me. So, and the near and dear ones, of course, they are very kind to me. All beings are so kind to you now. So when you say kind, what does it mean by kind? That I receive the benefit from them. Your mind flows towards them. Your mind flows towards them. So your mind flows towards them, and then it becomes the flows. So you're left with no enemies. There's no enemy anymore now. Okay. So because your love flows towards equally to them, then you wish that the beings to whom your mind flows is infinite number. So your happiness becomes infinite. And then the next point is, how can I best benefit all these beings who are being so kind to me? So that is by myself perfecting in three qualities: perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. So once I perfect in these three qualities, okay, did we touch this last time? We did not. Okay, so we have to, so for us, how can I best benefit all these beings? Just as the mother feels, how can I best benefit my children? Like with children who are very responsible, loving children, how can I best make my parents happy? So there, then we see that the manner in which you can help others is by the acquiring three perfect qualities: perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. So why these three qualities? Okay, so finally we see that what we learned earlier was that instead of giving food to somebody dependent on you every day, instead of that, wiser, more kind would be to teach the skill how to get food. That suffices feeding the person whole life, even in the presence or in absence of you. So whereas you give food when you are gone, when you are sick, who is going to give food? When you die, who will continue to give food? Whereas if you provide the skill, even if you leave this world, even if you die, still it is like you giving food every day to the person, because the person knows how to get food by himself or herself. So likewise, it is teaching the skills how to activate the seed of perfection within. So that teaching is giving guidance. So therefore, we should become the best of the guide to guide others to the state of ultimate happiness and the ultimate fearlessness. So how to be the best of the guide? The best of the guide should have three qualities: perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect power. Okay, I'm going to quickly explain why these three are required, and then we will do with the takeaway, a short takeaway, a brief takeaway of the points. Let's say that say when you're very young meaning age 12, 13, 14, your father tells you that, hey, my daughter, my son, study well, I'm always there to help you. Okay, one day it's your exam, annual exam, school annual exam, and then you have to, you are struggling with your science paper, and you remember that, oh, my father promised to help me. If I'm keen to study, my father would be there to help me. Then you go to your father, Dad, please teach me science. The science exam is after 1 week. And the father says, okay, I'm very sorry. I always failed in science when I was in school. So the father could not help you. Why your father cannot help you? Because he's lacking the knowledge. How many agree with me, Rishans? If this is a scenario, he's lacking the knowledge. When the person lacks knowledge, the person cannot help you. Then the father said, okay, don't worry. Don't worry. Our next door neighbor is a professor. Is a professor in physics. Oh, with great excitement, you go there, they knock at the door, and the professor opens the door. Hey, little girl, little boy, what do you want? Oh, please teach me physics. It's my science exam after 1 week. The professor says, say the 1,000 US dollars per hour, which is equal to like 70,000 rupees per hour. No way, impossible, right? No way. Okay, sorry. Then you come back, you feel so sad. You tell your dad that this is what the professor said, $1,000 per hour. Even the professor could not help you. Why not? He has the knowledge. But what is he lacking? Anybody? What is he lacking? Not only he, sometimes can be she also. What is she lacking or he lacking? Anybody? Raise hands.
Love.
Yes.
Empathy.
Empathy. Love is missing. Love.
Compassion.
Compassion. Feeling of love is not there. So without the love and affection, with love, compassion comes. With love, empathy comes. So without this love, again, even though you have the knowledge, you have excellent knowledge, but you cannot help. So love is not, the perfect love is required. Okay. And then your dad says that, okay, don't worry, although your mother is not a professor, the physics professor, but your mother was a topper in science when she was in school, always a topper in science. And she'll come this evening after the class. She is a school teacher after class. Then the mother comes and you jump to the mother, please teach me science. Mother, please don't come close to me. I had a stomach problem. So she must have eaten some stale food in the school, and she's now having the problem. So please don't come. I feel exhausted. I have no energy. And the mother could not help you. She has love. She has the knowledge, but could not help you because she does not have the power to help you. Whereas if somebody, should it be the case that somebody is endowed with all these three qualities, nothing is a deterrent factor for this person. This person will be there to help you at all times. So if you're endowed with these three qualities, you are known as the fully awakened being. With this you becoming full awakened, with these having perfected in these three qualities, then you'll be in a position to guide all the beings. If from their side they are ready, you are there to guide all the beings towards the total fearlessness and the ultimate happiness. So that is known, that desire to lead all the beings to there is known as a bodhicitta, the desire to awaken yourself so that you'll be endowed with these three qualities to guide the beings properly towards their desired goal. This is known as a bodhicitta. Okay, so this is the teaching on the first chapter of the Guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life, and a quick, very easy takeaway. Okay, one is, okay, we learn about this. Although I don't know to what extent I can really practice the universal compassion, unconditional compassion, or the bodhicitta, but I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference, meaning that I don't want to remain as miserable as what I'm now. Or, no, I'm not miserable, I'm fine. But when you say fine, there are so many layers of fineness. There are so many layers. Sometimes you are very happy. Someone, okay, I'm fine, I have no misery, but I'm fine, but very boring, right? So where you don't feel bored, you are extremely fresh and enthusiastic, happy. There are various levels. So if you really want to stay, and of course we have problems. If you really want to stay away from the problems to the best you can, and if you really want to give yourself more happy, a greater meaning of your life, and if you want to really make your life easier, not complicated unnecessarily, sometimes we unnecessarily make complicated things unnecessarily complicated, right? Okay, just we make things unnecessarily complicated. Where there is love and affection, everything is beautiful. Everything becomes very simple and beautiful, right? If you really want to make your life simple, beautiful, if you really want to extract the greater meaning out of life, if you really want to make your, say, near and dear ones happy, and if you really want to grow yourself in joy, then practice this compassion. The first step that I would suggest is stop shouting at your mothers. This is number one. Stop shouting at your mothers. And stop shouting. When I say stop shouting at your mother, means stop shouting at your father, at your husband, at your wife, and your children. Stop shouting. This is number one. At the same time, what happens sometimes that when you stop shouting, when you're so gentle, people take you for granted. They will take you on the right. They'll take you for granted. So there, what we do is that don't lose your temper. Don't give in to anger. Sometimes you can put on facade or become angry, but never give in to anger. Never give in to anger. Number two, that if it is not the mistake to the other side, simply because you want to vent your anger, you shout at the mother. This is totally unacceptable. If you really want to grow in your happiness, if you really want to prove yourself as with a greater meaning of your life, don't shout as a means to vent out your anger. Don't do that, particularly towards the people who love you. Okay, and the next one is anger is a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of strength. Let's not forget it. When you really become angry, the first thought that you must come in, that should come to you is that, okay, look, now I'm weak. When you are angry, you get a false feeling that I'm strong, I'm very courageous. No, this is a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of strength. It's a sign of weakness, anger. Say the parents, sometimes your children, they may not, they take your love and affection for granted. They don't listen to you. So under such situation, you may put on the facade as though like you are sad, you are really upset, but deep inside you should not be angry. With the anger, there's no excuse. You're on the wrong side. You destroy your peace of mind. You destroy your compassion. No anger. Sometimes you can put on the facade of anger, put on the facade of sadness, but you should not become really angry. This is very important. Okay, so how is anger a sign of weakness, not a sign of strength? Is if you chase a dog with a stick, what happens? The dog will run. It will run away from you. And finally, if the dog is cornered, then what will the dog do? Dog sees that now I'm so vulnerable, now I cannot do, now I will receive the beating. So before you get a beating, what should you do? Out of desperateness, you jump to attack the person. So this attacking the person is the aggression, is the expression of the anger. So this anger is a sign of your vulnerability. It's not a sign of the strength. It's a sign of vulnerability and weakness. So, and particularly, to whom do you show the anger? Not towards your boss, but towards your weaker one, or towards your mother, and towards someone who you love, which means that you are really weak. If you really want to show anger towards your boss, then let's see. But you don't dare to show anger towards your boss, right? So you show anger towards your mother, who will always say yes. So what I'm saying is that the anger is a sign of weakness. Why should you prove that you are weak? Don't prove that you're weak. Prove that you're strong. So where ordinary people behave angrily, you try to contain it. You try to stop it and prove that you are strong. Okay, this is very important. And then if you are still more successful than this, if you can practice even more, then go for the two methods: the sevenfold cause-effect method and the method of equalizing and exchanging self for others. These two methods, if you are interested to learn these two methods, Tibet House, we have all the teachings available. You can download them. If you make a request to Dr. Nivedhariji, then she will connect with us, our office. Then the office will give that to you through Dr. Nivedhariji. Feel free to get that. Okay. If you practice it, you can see the difference. Don't expect the difference overnight. It'll take time. It'll take time, because these are the experiences, this beautiful moment of compassion. These are experiences which we never experienced before, unconditional love. So since that we are doing something which is so new, which we never did before, it'll take time. Once it starts to take root there within you, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. This beauty of the mind we have never experienced before is so beautiful. And then you don't need anybody to push you. The feeling, the flavor of this beautiful mind, Bodhicitta, you just feel like doing it every day yourself voluntarily. And it can be contagious, and people around you, they can feel this from you. This is something so different in you. What are you doing? You're so gentle. How come that you're so gentle? You're so calm. You're so compassionate. How come? Right? And then when they say that you are very gentle, how come? So they have become interested. This is how your practice of the compassion, it has become contagious. Other people, they're also contracting this from you. This is so precious. Okay, one time what happened was that one lady, a professor, made an appointment to see me in my office. And then I met him. Usually when I meet somebody, it's always through somebody who I know. This is how we become connected. One time there was one professor, and sitting with that professor, I could see no link how this person came to my office. And the person made an appointment also, which means that it was not accidental. And then I asked, how did you come to know about Tibet House? And then listen to this. This is so beautiful. This is how this compassion is very contagious. And she said that. And she introduced herself as a professor. Yeah, professor, yes. I'm very keen to meet with professors. They're thinking, to know their thinking. But somehow how she was sharing with me, I could say there's no connection between two of us, meaning that there's no a common person who connected between two of us. And I said, how come that you came to know about Tibet House? And she said that, in my colony, in the place where she lives, in my colony, there's one lady who I always see passing by my place. Always see. For the last 4 or 5 years, I've been seeing this lady passing by. And this lady, I have never seen this lady upset. I've never seen this lady depressed, upset. Always very calm, peaceful, happy. How come that? I'm a professor, very educated by the standard, the modern the standard. I'm very educated, which means I should be the happier person. But there's always unhappiness with me. Look at this lady. Not even a single day for the last 4 or 5 years, I saw this lady unhappy. Always very calm, exuding love and affection. Exuding. I don't know this lady. And then she said that one day I gathered the courage to go to her and talk to her. And she said, and I'm always seeing you, but I never saw you upset, depressed. You exude love and affection. How come that you are so loving, so full of happiness? How come? And then she said, I don't know. I go to attend teachings in Tibet House. Then she goes, oh, maybe Tibet House, right? So mentally she put a mark in the book, in the notebook, mentally, right? Tibet House. Then she Google search and then saw the appointment. Look, it is nothing to, of course, all these teachings by this great Bodhisattva Shantideva, all these things are there. And then herself, she was practicing. This lady I know, she really practiced these teachings. And she literally exudes the beauty of compassion. You could feel that. So one person can affect. So whereas if the people who know this lady, of course they're affected, positively affected. But even somebody who's unknown, who's feeling that I'm a professor, even that person is affected by this love and affection. It's so beautiful. Okay, so what we do is the number one is the stop shouting. Number two is when you become angry, think of anger as a sign of weakness. Why should I prove myself as weak? I should be strong. Who displays the strength? Strength is so rarely displayed. Ordinary people, what the ordinary people cannot do, that is the strength of the rare number of the people. Who displays anger very easily? Ordinary people. So if I display anger very easily, I become an ordinary person. I should prove myself as special. What do you mean by special? That I should not be the ordinary person. How? I should display my strength. What is that strength? Strength is say no to the anger. And then if possible, try to practice these two methods. And then alongside, in your own capacity, be kind towards other people, including your mates, including your helpers. Be kind to them. Be kind to them. And alongside, spread this message of becoming good at saying yes. Don't be good at saying no. Spread this message to yourself, to your family members, to your friends, and let it go everywhere, spread everywhere, that this compassion spreads towards others. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nivedji. We still have about like another 28 minutes. If we can edit in some questions, Dr. Nivedji, before we leave for the next session. Short break before, yes.
Many questions have come in. So thank you, Geshe-la. Yes. First of all, very grateful for teaching us the chapter and also introducing us and giving us some takeaways. And Domala has already kindly agreed to look for the links and she'll be sending them across. So we'll be very happy to share it with everybody so everyone can start practicing the methods. In terms of the questions, Geshe-la, there have been multiple questions asked about our relationship with the parents, saying that sometimes this relationship is a little difficult, or sometimes we have seen parents doing something wrong or engaging in something unwholesome, and how should one then deal with it?
Okay. I fully agree with the person who asked these questions. Meanwhile, first, let me give you a very generic picture. Generic picture is where, say, till you reach the age of 14, 15, 16, till that point, say, how did your parents treat you? And around that time, like particularly age 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if you suffered, I agree with you. I fully agree with you. Whereas till around this age, you receive the maximum benefit, love, affection of parents, no excuse. Don't expect your parents are Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Don't expect that. Don't expect that. They have their own weaknesses. Let's not forget it. Meanwhile, for you, what is your duration, the phase of your growth, phase of your vulnerability was till age about like age 12, 13, 14, till that age. So within this range of the age, if you have received the maximum love and affection, the parents' job is done. Even if they have their own respective mistakes, vulnerables. I know some of you what you're talking about. I know that. Wholesome, unwholesome, I know what you're talking about. But they have not missed their job to nurture you. From that point of view, they have been extremely kind to you. And keep in mind that it is their shortcomings, their mistakes, their drawbacks. These drawbacks make them unhappy, make them miserable. It's not that with their drawbacks they're happy. They think that they're happy, but they're going through miserable states. Okay, I acknowledge that. So what I'm saying is that whereas if you have received the maximum love and affection till age 13, 14, 15, that's good enough. For you, you should be able to really repay the kindness of the parents. And with the utmost love and affection, you can counsel your parents. You can counsel your parents. And keep in mind that even your parents are not Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. They are not perfect. They're not perfect. Keep this in mind. Okay, one time, it is a little out of context, but I'd like to share this with you. One time there was a girl, and I was meeting a group of people, and this girl was exceptionally interested in Dharma. And that time, in that meeting, the girl was missing. Then after a while, I got a request that this girl wants to meet me separately. I said, okay, we met. And then the girl was complaining about her boyfriend. Then I was patiently listening and complaining about my boyfriend doing like this, doing like that, doing like this, A, B, C, D, E, F, many. Then I said, what kind of boyfriend do you want? I asked her. You must be looking for a Bodhisattva boyfriend. And she said, she didn't say anything. She was silent. I said that Bodhisattva boyfriends are even more boring than your boyfriend, because they love everybody. You'll be very jealous of him, talking to everybody, all boys, girls, everywhere he's talking, because he's a Bodhisattva. You'll feel so bored. He will not spend time with you. He'll spend the time with everybody. So your time will be in 365 days. At the most, you will get 1 day, because he doesn't have time. He has to attend to all the sick people, all the difficult people, suffering people. So he doesn't have time for you. It's even more boring, right? So don't expect the Bodhisattva boyfriend. So what I'm saying is that don't expect your parents, the partners, these things to be perfect. Don't expect that. Finally, you are benefited when you needed your parents the most. When that is done, their job is done. Now it is your job left to repay the kindness. That is your job. Okay, one thing. And then how to do that then? If you see all these wrong things happening, just see with the best of intention, with love and affection, you counsel. And it doesn't mean that even the Buddha cannot make everybody perfect. It's already 2,500 years after the Buddha Shakyamuni. Still the beings are going through all these wrong, unwholesome things still happening. So if the Buddha cannot do that, how can we ordinary being expect to fix everything so well? And how do you fix? Most likely, you try to fix it with anger, shouting. So what I'm saying is that if you have received the maximum, when you needed the mother's love and affection the most, if you have received that, then after that, out of love, out of concern, you try to talk to them in a nice, gentle way. Keep in mind that they are not perfect. They're not Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. Let's not forget it. This is one thing. And Then the other thing is about the parents being extremely angry, fighting, drunk, or so forth since childhood. That is a different story. That's a different story, and they go through difficulties themselves. Okay, more questions?
Geshe-la, as part of last week's where we were talking about working with being kind to difficult people, there's a question saying, how does one learn to be kind towards somebody who has inflicted suffering which is enough to last a lifetime, like in the case of, let's say, sexual abuse? And how do we make sure that through our practice, we are also looking at decreasing the occurrence of such events through those people's lives? Can we deter them in some way?
Okay, so this question has multiple sides. How it left such a scar which cannot be erased all your life. That's I fully agree. Number one. And number two, how to deter these people from repeating these crimes. There are many facets to this question. Number one, removing the scar. Yes, it's yes, this is a deep scar left there. And usually when I encounter such situations, people asking for such questions, particularly meeting with the people, the victims, then I tell them that, okay, your life is very precious. Number one, don't forget it. Your life is very precious. Simply because this happened doesn't mean that you have to give up. Your life is so precious, you can do miracles with this life. One miracle thing that you can do is that there are so many people, there are so many victims of the same nature as what you went through. And knowing these things so well, you have to write books. How to tackle these situations, how to heal yourself, how not to give up, how to look for a different dimension of reality where you find a greater meaning out of your life. So you have to learn all these things and then put them into the writing. Write a book. And in fact, me writing such a book and you writing such a book is going to be very different because I don't have such experience. You have the experience. You have been through the experience. So anybody who went through these, the victims, they can easily connect with your book and not with my book. Mine one is pure theory. Yours one is experiential and theory together. Yours one is going to be very powerful. So what you went through and you being able to look at different ways, different angles to the same thing. And that way, number one, how to deal with this, how to warn the younger, the people in the future. And then once such things happen, how not to give up on your life. And how to extract, how to look for a greater meaning, in fact. And how to counsel, how to heal. All these things must come in the book. So this is going to be extremely great gift for the world. Because the world, we cannot think of the world meaning only the rich people, only the people who are safe with all these bodyguards. No. Everybody is important, particularly the victims. They are so important. Their life is so important. They must be protected, given more protection. And one of the greatest protections is to heal them of the pains, that the scar that they're left with. And your experience, these will be one of the most effective ways by which to heal them, to give them a greater meaning, the purpose of their life. So these things we can do, number one. And then to the next part, to deter the same thing happening in the future. So this, I would say that these already, the government should be taking steps. Government, the law, they should be taking steps. And whereas if there is more domestic, something more on a small scale, or something more the personal, not necessarily something to deal by the law, then these things we can deal with individually. Otherwise, something which is a crime. So this all to be dealt with by the law. But the law may not necessarily come to heal you heal the victims. So for that purpose, for that matter, the people who went through these abuses and so forth, they can really leave a mark in the lives of so many people in the future by leaving the legacies in the form of books in the future. These are my thoughts here.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Geshe-la, if you could elaborate on the difference between compassion and loving kindness as well, and how it would manifest in practice.
Okay. Compassion and loving kindness. So basically, the feeling of closeness. This is so important. The first one, the feeling of closeness. How to build this feeling of closeness towards your near and dear ones, towards the neutral beings, towards the difficult people, and towards yourself. This is so important. First, let us keep in mind that you are important. Don't say that I'm not important. You are very important. It doesn't mean that you are more important than others, but you are very important. First, we have to know how to take care of yourself. This is so important. Only if you know the worth of yourself, how you have this seed of perfection within you, how you have the potential to benefit all the beings. Only when you see your worth, then you will become determined to benefit others. Then you will be determined. You will get the energy to do something for others. So this, for that matter, you have to build the feeling of closeness towards others, the neutral, yourself first, then the near and dear ones, the neutral beings, then difficult people. So once you build this love and affection, feeling closeness, this feeling of closeness can manifest in different forms. For example, like say the light, say the crystal. If you have the crystal, this crystal, depending on the surface, depending on the color of the surface, the crystal will take that form of the color. If the crystal is put on the blue table, this crystal assume blue color. If the crystal is put on the red table, it'll assume the red color. Likewise, this feeling of love and affection, in one situation, it becomes compassion. In the other situation, it becomes a loving kindness. So it's a feeling of closeness, feeling of love and affection. When you see the others in the situation where the others are suffering, then this feeling of closeness will manifest in the form of compassion, feeling of closeness, wishing others to be freed of suffering and the causes of suffering. That is compassion. Compassion is looking at the beings in the light of suffering. You are suffering, may you be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. This is compassion. Then the same feeling of love and affection when directed towards a situation where other person is deprived of happiness. May you have happiness and the causes of happiness. That is loving kindness. Loving kindness is where you feel the feeling of love and affection, wishing others to be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. This is loving kindness. And practically speaking, the one thing is just see the learn learn how to put yourself in the shoes of others. This is so important. If you put yourself in the shoes of others, then you learn how to empathize with others. The empathy will come to you. This feeling of closeness, feeling of affection will come. So one time, there was one gentleman, he must be in his 70s. I must be in my early 40s, 41, 42. And this gentleman, I was very busy with the office works. And he would come in the morning, and then he would talk to me. Then I don't really have time. So he sensed that I was very busy. So he said, Geshe-la, I have two requests. Number one, that can I come to see you every day for 2 minutes? And actually he's sitting with me 2 minutes is not possible. He comes, it'll be minimum 1 hour or 2 hours. He said, can I come for 2 minutes every day to see you? I said, okay. Then I was still busy working. Then he said, okay, now he will not say spend time to talk to me. He's busy. Then I said, okay, Geshe-la, now I'll go to Lodi garden to meditate. Please tell me one word. What should I meditate? I was so happy. Now he's going to leave. I said, compassion. Then he left, and then he again came back. Then he said he was in a way like drawing my attention. She said, Gisela, compassion works so good in Lodi Garden, but it doesn't work in the traffic. then, so that's practical aspect. This is what he's saying. In the Lodi Garden, this is theory. In the traffic, this is practical. So in practically speaking, it doesn't work. In theory, it works. This is what he's saying. So I said, what's the problem in the traffic? He said that when I'm in the scooty, the two-wheeler, then somebody cuts, I become so angry, no compassion. Compassion disappears. So I told him, just imagine this person who cuts. This person might have a very little daughter, very little, age 4, age 5, waiting the school where all the children already left with their parents. And this little girl was so scared, waiting for the father to come to pick her up. And she's by herself there. So because of this, the father was in a hurry to run there. If you think like this, then you can empathize. You will stop and you will very kindly let the person move. Go. Or this person might have a mother who was terribly sick and the doctors are not admitting her because she doesn't have the money at hand to deposit. So the mother is waiting for the son so that she can be admitted, and the son is in a hurry out of love for the mother. She's hurrying to that he has to cut. And he said, okay, that makes sense. So what I'm saying is that if you put yourself in others' shoes, then your compassion will become very easy. And where the feeling of, understanding, feeling of the empathy, with the feeling of empathy, loving kindness, it can manifest from loving kindness, depending on the situation where other person is deprived of happiness. It can manifest from compassion, where the person is into the miserable state or suffering state. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la. Geshe-la, there's another question saying, when physical illness comes, all of these practices become even more difficult because anxiety kicks in, panic kicks in. Then how should one learn to control the mind, especially when despair and other aspects become very strong?
Okay, this is again a very practical question. Yes, usually this is what I've also seen with my own eyes. Some people who are otherwise extremely gentle, kind, and you be with this person, even your anxiety all disappears. But with the same person who otherwise is a great inspiration for so many people, when that person becomes physically sick, the person can become very grumpy and extremely short-tempered. Yes, I've seen that with my own eyes. I've seen that. So I understand it. And even between, let's say, the parents and the children, when the parents, they become sick, terribly sick, in pain, sometimes they can see nasty things to us. They can say nasty things to us. The children also, while the children, they are nursing the parents, but out of this pain, they become so desperate to say all nasty things towards the children. This happens, and the children towards the parents likewise. This happens. I understand it. Yes. The point is that, okay. What would you say in case, let's say that, okay, I did not learn physics thus far, and tomorrow is my exam, and today if I ask Dr. Niveditaji, what should I do now? My physics exams tomorrow, what should I do? And Dr. Niveditaji, you may advise me saying that, Geshe-la, don't worry. Today, you learn one page, even that is good, learn, right? If you fail, don't worry. But next time, always start from way ahead of time. Prepare for the exam way ahead of time. You will say this. Today, no, you have to study. It doesn't help. How can you, what the teacher taught like 365 days, how can you just gulp everything in one day? We can't expect that. So wisest thing to do is don't worry. Even if you fail, don't worry. This is the best thing, right? And meanwhile, tell the person that, hey, next time, don't waste time like this. Prepare the exam way ahead of time, 1 month, 2 months ahead of time. You're getting it? Likewise, say when you acute pain, ordinary people is impossible. that we can remain calm, compassionate, very difficult. It is only through practice that you can potentially manifest these qualities of calmness. For example, my teacher is amazing. I was really amazed. Literally, I was perplexed by how my teacher demonstrated. My teacher, what happened was that one time, he was actually hit by a bull, and then he fell on the ground and his hip was broken and acute pain. And all the students, one by one, they were going to meet him. And it was like 2 or 3 days later, when I went there, and how my teacher was talking, so calm, peaceful, and as though nothing happened to him. You won't believe that he's the one who is sick. He's the one who was hit by the bull. You wouldn't believe that he's the one. So calm, poised, no agitation, no sadness, nothing, just very normal. Wow, that's amazing. This is the proof of the practice of the Dharma. That's amazing. So what I'm saying is that through practice, these two methods, if you really want to see the effect in your real life, then you have to practice these two methods. And those two methods we can practice now. Don't wait till the last minute. You have to do it now. You have to begin now. It's not late. It's not late. It's not early. You have to begin now. And then you will feel the effect. And then when you're sick or physically, you have physical difficulties or ailments, still you can maintain the calmness of your mind only through practice, not otherwise. Yes?
Geshe-la, a question about saying, where we are today is we are constantly experiencing hurt, guilt, helplessness, insecurity. The idea of having compassion for all feels very, very ideal. And saying most days, frankly, there is a lot of doubt even about our capacity to feel so much compassion. So how do we develop more faith in that? And then how do we develop?
Okay, thank you. Yes, I agree with this question again, that the fact that when we go through the real life experiences is extremely overwhelming, but at the same time, always keep in mind that, say, at times, you may feel that, oh, person A, also I'm not in talking terms with person A, person B, always there's some problem there. And hearing about COVID, and here now today, what is that? Neocov. Again, there's a new version coming. Neocov. And it's so negative everywhere. However negative you feel the world is, keep in mind that the world is not deprived of good people. Good people are there. Positive people are there. Don't expect the positive people to come to you. You have to go in search of the positive people. Positive people meaning the person who will not judge you on the basis of your gender, on the basis of your creed, caste, or your knowledge, your position, power, wealth. If somebody judges you on that basis, that person is not a positive person. It's not a good person. Good person, by the definition, is somebody who does not judge you on any ground, who's the person who sees you as somebody who wants happiness and who doesn't want suffering. On that basis, what can I do to help you? This is the meaning of the positive person. You're bound to meet with a positive person, provided you go in search of that positive person. Once you find a positive person, don't harass the positive person, right? Don't let the positive person run away from you. Don't harass. Keep in touch in a very balanced way. What do you want to learn? Learn. And then give himself or herself space and time. Don't waste too much of the time of that person. In other words, whatever inspiration that you need, seek inspiration from these people. And this book, a guide to the Bodhisattva Way of Life. This book is going to be a lifelong guide. This is written by, believe it or not, you start to experience what he's saying, what this author is saying. You feel that this author is highly, highly, highly realized. So the more the value you feel of this book, you can keep this. And these are the inspirations. Yes, we can see the world, a better world. At the same time, don't wait the world to change for you. You change yourself for the world. This should be our work. And keep in mind that there are always good people there. Daughter Nivedita is just always there for you. She is so caring, so loving. I know that. You just keep in touch with her. She's always there. Yeah.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Geshe-la, would you like to take a break for a cup of tea?
Yes. Half an hour tea break. We'll come back.
Sure. Thank you very much, Geshe-la.
Thank you.